Episode 20 of Successful Vaishnavas, where we interview Nanda-Priya Prabhu, the devotee who translated Srila Prabhupada's books into the Georgian language while working full-time as a professional oncologist. He's also a wonderful musician who goes by the name of Zaza. He plays fantastic piano and has a wonderful voice.
Georgian language is actually one of the ancient languages in the world, with unique alphabet, which is actually among the 14 unique alphabets in the world. And Georgian is not Indo-European, it's not Turkish, it's not Persian, it's not whatever. It's quite unique. That doesn't belong to any languages. It's exquisite, with beautiful characters, and lots of nice literature and poetry, but it stands on its own.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jayo Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Jayo Kunjabi
Hare Krishna, this is Krishnendu Das. This is episode 20 of Successful Vaishnavas, and we're interviewing Nanda-Priya Prabhu today. He's a devotee who translated Srila Prabhupada's books into the Georgian language, which is one of the Eastern Bloc countries, Georgia, and he did it while working full-time as an oncologist, which is a highly specialized cancer doctor. So it's a really interesting story about how he came to Krishna consciousness and how he was able to translate those books, even though he was so busy with a very important job. In addition to that, he's also a very talented musician, and he's just released an album, and we'll be discussing a little bit about that album and about his music. He reminds me a little bit of Billy Joel in some of his songs. He's really great on the piano, and he's got a kind of a unique, little bit raspy voice, which, it's got a wonderful charm to it. So you probably heard one of his tracks or a snippet from his track in the introduction, and we might slip in a few extra samples as we go on. So that's the interview that we've got today. In other news, it's been a little while since I did a podcast, but we're back on the horse, and I've realized that there's a bunch of content which I haven't released, which would be of value to devotees. So I'm thinking of releasing that shortly as podcast episodes. In that case, we might release them more often than once a week. We'll just see how we manage, but I thought instead of holding on to it, let me get it out there, even if it's not on a strict weekly schedule, or anyway, my schedule's not so strict as it is, so let me just get it out there and get the feedback from devotees and see what they think. It's different ideas about personal development, ideas about how we can improve our society in terms of empowering the devotees in our society, as well as about how we can improve our preaching and reach more devotees and train devotees better and build up community and all kinds of things like that. So that's something to look forward to. I've discussed a lot of these topics on Facebook Lives, and I've realized that some people prefer to listen to podcasts. I can certainly raise my hand for that. I'd rather listen to a podcast while I'm driving or running or something like that, rather than have to watch something. So what I'll be doing is I'll be looking through those Facebook Lives, and if I think it's something of value that devotees might learn something from, I'll add it as a podcast episode as well. I've already put all of the Facebook Lives that I've done up on YouTube, and also put the audio on SoundCloud. So if you're listening to this on SoundCloud, they're already there. If you're downloading this through iTunes or something similar to that, then you can expect those episodes to be coming out shortly. All right, yeah, what else has been news? A friend of mine, a devotee here in Auckland, Bhakti Margamataji, has just written a book. She spent 1 year studying creative writing at university, and as part of that assignment, or that study, she had to write a book, a novel. And when she wrote her book, the assessor thought that the book was so fabulous that he told her that he'll publish it for her. So she's actually published this book. It's called Ocean of Milk. And in her words, she's trying to follow in the footsteps of Srila Vyasadeva and the Mahabharata in the sense of spinning a good story, but teaching spiritual principles at the same time. So I've got my copy, and I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to get into it and read it and find out what it's like. I've already heard some passages that Bhakti Marg was reading at her book launch, and it was really fun. It was a bunch of books arguing with each other on the bookshelf, and there was a bit of philosophy even in that. So that was kind of interesting. Just see what else we've got happening here. I recently published an article. I also did a Facebook Live on it about how to attract Westerners. It's quite a big topic. Of course, Krishna West is very famous for this. And around the world, there's some different places which are really focused on this, such as the Bhakti Center in New York, the Loft in Auckland, that are doing a great job. Well, not just in Auckland, we've also got the equivalent in Wellington. And I was just trying to think, what are some of the factors that have caused it? And in a discussion on a Facebook thread, one devotee brought up a point that in the old days there was a focus on book distribution rather than just getting donations from, Indian well-wishers. And because of that lack of focus in preaching, it led to, bigger congregations, which is great, but it also led to less new people coming to the culture. And I think another factor as well is when that shift happened, the focus moved to, let's say it moved away from preaching to young people, who are the ones who are most likely to become brahmacharis or brahmacharinis and fully take up the Krishna conscious lifestyle. Yeah, so there's just a few thoughts, and I go into more detail in my article, and the more I think about it, the more I realise there's a lot more to say on it. But it was just a starting point and an area that I wanted to develop. Because, of course, once people join, once they get the books, or once we start to preach to people, how do we cultivate those people? How do we help them to become serious devotees? And how do we help them to stay in the movement and stay connected and stay inspired? So those are topics for another time. And I'd just like to once again appreciate Vaishya Prabhu. He's inspiring book distribution all over the world, and in particular, just between you and me, he has got my wife, Nikunja, fired up. She listens to him all the time, and every chance she gets, she wants to go out on book distribution. And just the other day, she went up the road to the shops by herself, distributed a few books, met some really nice people, and, she's just really inspired, and we owe it to Vaishya Prabhu for that inspiration. We also would like to thank Bir Krishna Maharaj, because he's also inspired the devotees here in Auckland to follow the monthly Sankirtan festival, which Vaishya Prabhu, is promoting, where each month, for one day in the month, the devotees go out and distribute books. Even if they're not done it before, like the idea is that everybody gives it a go. And so by Bir Krishna Maharaj's inspiration and by Vaishya Prabhu's continued inspiring words, my wife is really excited about book distribution, and there's also a lot of new book distributors here in Auckland, which is really cool as well. So that's just a really quick recap about kind of what's been going on with me. I'm excited about opening up the Empower and Preach membership again shortly. As I've mentioned, a theme that I'm thinking about a lot at the moment is how we can increase the number of Westerners in our movement, and how to cultivate people who come to Krishna consciousness in the most positive way. So that'll be like the theme that we'll be focusing on in the membership over the next period of time, as well as continuing with our providing the other resources there which help with japa and sadhana and fitting it into a busy life. So we're just trying to build up this membership with new content and new ideas, and as more members join, we're getting to share with each other, and that's where the value really comes, is when we can support each other to become Krishna conscious and help others to become Krishna conscious. So, with that said, let's go on to the interview with Nanda-Priya Prabhu, or as he is known in the music world, Zaza. And let's hear about how someone with a full-time job as a highly specialized doctor and oncologist was able to translate all of Srila Prabhupada's books into his native Georgian language. Hare Krishna.
It's time to get inspired. Join us as we celebrate devotee success stories, preaching, business, community development, leadership and personal growth, all from the point of view of Krishna consciousness. Our goal? To help you to make your life successful.
So, Hare Krishna, welcome back. This is Krishnendu Das for another episode of the Successful Vaishnavas podcast. And today we have the privilege of interviewing Nanda-Priya Prabhu, who's the devotee who actually translated Srila Prabhupada's books into the Georgian language. So he's a great pioneer in Krishna consciousness in the Eastern European countries. And we've got him here today. So without further delay, let's meet Nanda-Priya Prabhu. So Hare Krishna Prabhu, nice to meet you.
Hare Krishna, nice to meet you, and please accept my humble obeisance.
Please accept mine. Prabhu, could you just give us a little bit of... Could you just give us a little background about who you are and what you've done in Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll try to tell you something about myself. I'm originally from a country called Georgia. This is a former Soviet country located in between Caucasus Mountains and the Black Sea. It's a small country, about 5 million population, and it was part of Soviet Union before. I became interested in Krishna consciousness in about 1985. At that time, it was still Soviet Union, and as you probably heard, Krishna consciousness was forbidden. I got actually in contact with some devotees, and they gave me some books. It was actually Ishopanishad and His Journey to Other Planets. I read them just like in very, very short time, and I was very much absorbed in all this points and things Prabhupada was talking and making. I mean, I was very much convinced immediately, basically, in what he said. Especially, I was very much interested in hearing for the first time in my life that the Supreme, he is a person, and he has names, he has pastimes. You can talk to him, you can be friend with him, you can even be a lover, whatever. As we know, I mean, you can have a very deep personal relationship with the Supreme, and his name is Krishna. So that struck me very much from the beginning. Regulatory principles and some basic things I was already familiar with. I was following those principles as well, based in my interest in yoga in general and Oriental philosophies in general. So it was not something new for me, but Krishna was really, really new, and all these beautiful descriptions of Krishna, and especially the holy name, of course. I mean, how by chanting holy name you can realize God and become devotee of God, and even talk to Him, even in this life. I mean, that was amazing for me. That was what I was looking for, basically. At the time, I think I was 22 years old. I was almost graduated from the medical institute or school in Georgia, the capital city called Tbilisi, where I was born and raised and I studied. So it was like, usually in the West you start quite late, but I was already, when I was 17, I was actually admitted at the university, and So I had to decide what to do. Of course, I didn't want to give up my profession. I wanted to go on with that. Well, I became a devotee. And I could speak English. At that time, you have to know there were not so many people in Soviet Union who could speak what we called foreign languages. I learned French at school. I was quite good at it. And I actually, since I was 18 maybe, I had a private teacher in English, and I learned English. You would not hear English or French or German or any other languages except your own language, Georgian and Russian, on TV, on radio, anywhere else. It was the politics at Soviet times. So well, I was basically speaking exceptional person in that way. I could speak, I could read and speak and read and write in English. So the first thing devotees asked me to do was to translate books. Um, I hesitated very, very much because it's not easy. One thing you can speak English, but another thing is to translate from English to Georgian. You have to be very good in style, and you have to have quite some experience, which I did not have. So I refused in the beginning. They were persuading me like anything because at that time books were like the rare commodities, let's say like that. There are a few Russian books, that's all. We didn't even have English books available at the time. Maybe some people, some devotees in Moscow or St. Petersburg had some English books, not in Georgia at least. So I said no. I said no because I didn't feel like it, because I did not feel qualified enough. Then some couple of months later, I somehow or other spoke with a good friend of mine, good friend of my father, who was an excellent translator from English to Georgian, even translating some old, ancient religious books. Georgia is an Orthodox Christian country for centuries. So I asked him somehow or other to help me in English, and he said, why don't we take one of Prabhupada's books and translate it? So I took it as a sign from Krishna, and we started translating it. So first book was The Easy Journey to Other Planets. And
it's interesting. It's the first book that I read.
yeah, it's a great book. When you translate to a new language, Prabhupada has so many new term expressions. You have to, first of all, you have to get them together. For example, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nobody knows in any language what the expression is. It's a unique expression. Spirit, soul, whatever. Disciplic succession, even spiritual master, and many other things. You have to get those things together. So with the help of we started translating. I was doing translation at home 3 or 4 times a week, going to him, and we would go through English and Georgian version, word by word, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. He would correct me. He would help me. It was incredibly good. So actually, he helped me very much.
So he was not a devotee, actually, is that right? He was
just
interested.
No. Well, he was very Christian. He was very devoted Christian. He was an incredibly nice person, very intelligent, very well educated, but very much devoted to Christianity. For him, Christianity was the only thing, only right thing, basically. But he was, of course, cultured enough and intelligent enough not to say something bad about some other scriptures or something. But I mean, for him, he didn't want to hear anything. He just wanted to help me. So he did a devotional service even unknowingly. Actually, he did a great devotional service to Prabhupada, to make Prabhupada's books available in Georgian. We made this book. We made Easy Journey to Other Planets. Done. Then you had to type it somehow. At that time, I was talking about 86. There was no computer in Georgia. Maybe there was Kabul, of huge desktops somewhere, which filled up the whole I guess, offices somewhere in a few places. But there was no laptops, there was no personal computers. So I had to get a mechanical typewriter with Georgian letters. Georgian language is actually one of the ancient languages in the world with unique alphabet, which is actually among the 14 unique alphabets in the world. And Georgian is not Indo-European, it's not Turkish, it's not Persian, it's not whatever. It's quite unique. That doesn't belong to any languages. It's exquisite with beautiful characters and lots of nice literature and poetry, but it stands on its own. Well, I got a typewriter with Georgian characters, so it made a lot of noise. I mean, it's really like lots of metal, metallic and heavy one. I had it at my room, and I was typing like anything, and it made lots of noise. And I remember my grandmother, my mother would come, and they wouldn't say anything. But I mean, I just made lots of noise everywhere. Even when I woke, yes, it was not exactly, and you are in trouble if you make a mistake, because you have to. I mean, it's not so easy to correct, delete or insert or whatever, you know.
Wow.
Well, anyway, I was of course doing some drafts, and there was not like a final version. So I was, what shall I say? I typed this book, and then we moved to Ishopanishad. Then I really wanted to print those books, and I was going from publishing house or printing houses, I would say, from one to another, and so on, so on. I did not tell this to any devotee in my country because I was afraid if we would be caught by KGB, then devotees did not have to lie.
Right.
They just didn't know anything. What, Nanda-Priya? Is he printing anything? We never heard about it. And it would be genuine, so they would not be in trouble. So I didn't tell to anybody whatsoever. I was going every day to different places. Nobody wanted to print. Nobody wanted to have a trouble. Mm-hmm. So finally I got somebody, and he printed for me 300 copies. Then I had to manually, bind those books. And I was used to it. I was used to do like Russian Bhagavad Gitas and other books. We actually had some kind of handmade, some kind of little factories at home with knives and with glues and with all these things, with leather and whatever, or leather or what, I mean, to make it covers and hard copies, whatever. So I knew how to do it, but I needed the help. So I actually only told one devotee, and we actually bind those books, and we cutted them, and we actually gave to the devotees. It was probably 87. Everybody was so happy. Then I did the Ishopanishad, and I started doing Bhagavad Gita. And it's about 88, 89, and then things are getting a little bit better in the Soviet Union with perestroika and opening of the society and so on. And I was chosen to go to India the first time.
Wow.
With first devotees, I think we were 50 of us, with Kirtiraj Prabhu and all these huge arrangements, and lots of devotees helping us and receiving us in India. And we went through different places. Indraduna Swami, Govinda Maharaj, at the time Ayodhyapati Prabhu, different devotees, they helped us so much. It was really incredible. We went to Delhi and Calcutta and Bombay and Jagannath Puri and Vrindavan and Mayapur. And so I was then I came back in 89, and I was actually already working on Bhagavad Gita. Then at the time, Vaidinath Prabhu, my good friend, and now Bhaktivigana Goswami Maharaj, a very, very nice devotee. He was so dedicated to BBT. He actually did a lot for the Russian language. He was at the time residing in Koshness, although he is from Soviet. He is from Russia. He was actually residing there, and he was coordinating the BBT work. he insisted that I should come to Krishna's. But I did not want to go. I thought it was too early because I still needed an editor for the Bhagavad Gita. And how could I find a Georgian editor in Sweden? I couldn't. So, well, I was pushed so much. They said, well, it doesn't matter. Your grammar, your whatever, your punctuation, just make a good punctuation. So much you can do. Yeah, of course I can. But I mean, we have to print those books. We have to produce those books. There is no time. We have to do it. I was pushed by BBT in Moscow. And so in the beginning of January 1990, I went to Korsnäs, which is Sweden, in New Radakun, where there is beautiful Gantarvika Girtari deities, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati deities at this printing house were also Gantarvika Girtari. They're like BBT print deities. They're my deities. They're my everything. So I lived at their lotus feet, and of course, I was not alone in Georgian language. First devotee I so-called converted to BBT was my wife, Narayana. She's from Georgia. When I met her in 86 or 87, I saw a girl, very intelligent, university degree, learning English, good potential. I asked her to help me, and she learned how to type and how to, type all those things and whatever. So us two. Then come Devamata, who was a great person. Devamata, she did a lot of work, translation work together with me, and editorial work as well. And then we got a wonderful editor, Archa Vigraha. So actually, very suddenly, we were four of us in Sweden at the Northern European BBT, which was an excellent place. Harikesh Swami, my Guru Maharaj, he was so wonderful. He had this printing house, top level. We had emails. I'm talking about 1990, emails, personal computers. It was just going on like anything, producing books, making books, translating books in all the Soviet languages and other languages of Europe too. So it was incredible. And we did book after book. And Brahmuhurta Prabhu, who's in charge of Northern European BBT and has been for quite a long time, he especially liked Georgian language because of its beautiful characters. And he was a great fan of us. And we made Bhagavad Gita, we made Ishopanishad, easy life comes from life, perfect questions, perfect answers, science of self-realization, Bhagavatam Canto 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. And we actually printed like 15 books altogether. So in 1993, we had to, because of visa problems, we had to go back to Russia, and we continued our work in Lithuania and in Sochi, Russia. So in 1994, me and Narayan, we married, but we continued doing our work. At one point, I stopped BBT work, working in BBT in that sense that actually we translated all 10 cantos. The only thing we didn't translate was Chaitanya Charitamrita, because I had to find some work and as a doctor and maintain my family, whatever. So at one point I took a little rest, a little break, but very soon I regained it. I started, because what we did, we translated all the books almost, but I wanted to have a new edition, new style, just polishing the style and making them even better. So Mother, our dear mother from BBT, she passed away. Archa Vigraha, she actually became very, very in Georgia.
Sorry, could you just repeat that last part because the internet was not good? Could you just repeat that last part?
Yeah. Okay. About Archa Vigraha?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Archa Vigraha, she began actually writing. She wrote many, many nice books, and she even got the best prize in literature in Georgia. And she is very well known and very renowned academic philologist and writer in Georgia. Actually, I was actually quite alone at that time. Well, my wife was there, but BBT work basically stopped for a couple of years. Then actually I got a very, very good support from Northern European BBT or BBT in general, and I got some money to finance and re-editing of our books. And because I had an excellent editor who made a wonderful style for us. And well, she did it quite cheaply, I would say, quite cheaply. So she did actually, I think, 4 cantos or something like that. 7, 8, 9, or 10. Yes. Then I wanted, then later I thought, okay, I think we should make all the books in the same style. And I personally paid to the editor who made Bhagavad Gita, Easy Journey, Ishopanishad, 6 cantos of Bhagavatam, Krishna book, Science of, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, and I mean, we made very homogeneous, good text for all of Prabhupada's books. Well, what about Chaitanya Charitamrita? At that time, I was already living in 2000. I moved to Denmark because I'm a medical doctor. I'm an oncologist, and I have a very good career here in Copenhagen. A top position in my medical field.
When did you move to Copenhagen? When did you start living there?
In the year 2000.
Okay.
Yes. So, I actually decided to start translating Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I did. I did actually while commuting to my work. I had my laptop, and I bought actually a 15 inches Mac. Just a screen big enough to make English PDF file of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and one half of it on another. In another, I had the Word open, so I could just translate like that. So every day I was working like at least 1 or 2 hours, almost every day, except weekends maybe. So I think it took me 7 or 8 years to translate all Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then we began thinking about producing those books. And actually, I spoke with Northern European BBT. We decided to start with ebooks. I mean, everybody is into iPads and computers. Nobody buys anymore hard copies, or so we actually made Easy Journey, Ishopanishad. We almost done with new Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada biography in 1 volume, and lots of all the other books are just standing in line. And I have all the facilities to do that. I'm financing the whole thing alone.
Wow.
This is I have to say that, not because it's a lot of money, but still I'm doing it. I mean, just to show you how I understand these books. I mean, for me, these books are I shall say, how would you learn about Krishna if you don't read about from those books? I don't know. Of course, there are some nice Gaudiya Vaishnava books and extremely Bhakti Vinod Thakur's books and Bhaktistantas. But for me, Srila Prabhupada is like Acharya of the Acharyas. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how I see it. And he just makes devotees like anything. I mean, just reading a couple of pages of his books, you can become a devotee. I mean, he has incredible power. And I wanted to make those books available in Georgia, even though there is no much book distribution. I'm sorry, but still, this is not something which can stop me. I said to Prabhupada many times in my life, I wanted to make his books done before I die. And I'm actually turning 55 now. So I have translated at least all those books. And I hope that I will be able to see all those books produced in my language. And, these books are Krishna. And Prabhupada lives in those books. He said he was the basis. It's important to have all those books in all the languages. It doesn't matter if people read or not. They may read one day. They will find their ways. They will change the world. I am totally convinced about it. So I made those books. I'm so happy when I talk about those books, when I do something about it. I can't wait. I'm actually terrorizing my contact person, wonderful Hare Krishna Prabhu in Northern European DBT. I'm basically terrorizing him because I can't wait. I just always ask him, well, where are my files? When do you convert them to ebook version or whatever? I want to proofread. I want to, he is great. He's doing such a great job. He's doing books in so many languages. And I'm just joking.
Just like Prabhupada, he used to always say, "Where's book? Where is book?"
Whatever I do, I learn from him, and I learn from Harikesh Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj. I learned from these two people most I know in my life, and I'm crazy about those books. Especially making them. It's just, I don't know, what shall I say? I do all kinds of things, but this is my life.
Your life's mission.
These books are. I just love them. I just go crazy. Whenever I translate them, you feel so much contact with Prabhupada and Krishna, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't know. It's something unique. You never feel like this. For me, it's at least I don't feel Krishna so much except when I work on his texts. Shall I say? We will make those books. I'm sure about it. And when I just did this Prabhupada biography by Satsuru Maharaj. It's a wonderful book. It's just great book. In one volume. One day I will make all 6 volumes translated. I will translate them when I have time. But one volume is fine to start with. But when you read about his Prabhupada's life in India, I don't know what shall I say. How he pushed the mission. It's for the ordinary people. He was just insane. Why was he doing all these things? Why was he doing all this? He was going to the printing house. He was pushing them. He was fainting on the streets of New Delhi in scorching heat. He was losing his consciousness sometimes. He didn't have any money, but he was doing all those things. And he went to this was like a couple of dozen, I said, $40 or something, or 80 or something. Doesn't matter. So when I read all these things, like give him a little bit back, and that's why I do the books, because I feel so indebted to him, and I feel simply so much love to him. So that's why I made so much. I spent so much time to make those books. Even then, when nobody ever thought that there would be any devotee in Georgia. In Georgia, it's not a huge, ISKCON movement in Georgia at the moment. It was at one point, but not anymore. So so somehow or other I did it, and I have very good friends and devotees who actually appreciate this, and they're waiting for those books. And what shall I say? I'm going every day. I go to work. I see patients. I have a very responsible job, and so many patients' lives, somehow or other, you can say, depend on me. Not on me, of course. I'm not in charge, but I have to do that, give them the treatment, whatever. I'm totally engaged all the time. I have to earn money to keep up my living standard and support my family, but books are always there.
So are you still doing translating in the trains? Not anymore.
Sorry, I spoke so much. No, I don't have to trust. But there's a lot of work to do. It's not enough to translate. You have to proofread. You have to do the finality check. You have to read each book like 4, 5, 6 times before you are totally satisfied. Before you are mistakes and inconsistencies, whatever. I do engage a couple of top professionals who actually do the extremely good proofreading and even check the style and things like that. So I think books are on very, very professional level. And as my part is, my duty is to make sure they are not deviating from Prabhupada's original books and his, whatever he says, because editors can change the style because they may think that, okay, it sounds better, but it may change the meaning. So nowadays, when there's so much talk about, like changes in books or whatever, so I feel quite responsible that whatever is conveyed in those books actually corresponds to what Prabhupada said. So there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, of course, yes, it is. Yeah. Well, I have another side too on my music album called "The Red Dust of Ekachakra."
Nice.
It's 12 songs, actually 10. 2 songs are just mixed twice, played in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
It's some songs are in English, and all music is made by me, and it's like Jai Radha Madhava, Gaurangera Tutipada, and Jai Radha, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan, and Nityananda Ram, and Nitai Pada Kamala, Sri Rupa, Manjari Pada, and whatever. Great bhajans, the great texts, which are rendered in my own way, because I play piano and I sing. It's like, you can call it pop or sing-a-song style or whatever. It's coming very soon. It will be under my Karmi name, Zaza. Yeah. It's called zazamusic.dk. Will be released very soon on iTunes. And Dina Bantu has made great cover and great job to make the website for me. I'm not so good at it. So and I have quite a few other songs as well coming, and I got quite some good responses from, I would say, really top jazz musicians in Denmark. About 200 people, devotees, some other people, musicians, and they all said that this was something very unique. So I had to produce those songs. So
yeah, so I've heard some of the previews. Dinabandhu sent me some snippets of your album. It's really great. It's really easy music to listen to.
Yeah, well, that's kind of my style.
Yeah, and it's all about Lord Nityananda. What inspired you to pick that as your theme for the album?
Exactly. I mean, whenever you think about Lord Nityananda, keep yourself He blows your mind always. I mean, I wanted to dedicate this album of Chaitanya and Narottam Das Thakur's songs. I mean, oh my God, his mood is so great. And it happened like this. And actually, I had some songs before I became a devotee, some tunes. And I wanted to make more tunes. And I'm not great at lyrics, I should say. I can make music anytime, but lyrics, it's just, I'm too bad. So, and I actually, one day in Radhashtami, I said, well, at the time I was at home, it was Radhashtami day. I had a day off or something. And I was alone. I was working on Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was translating at home. And then I said, well, it's Radhashtami today. Let me write a song about, on Jai Radha Madhava. And I sat at my grand piano and I just wrote it like that. And I think it's nice. Then another day I wrote about Sri Rupa Manjaripada because I was translating about Rupa Goswami. I was translating about him and how when he was so old, Gopal deity, actually he arranged to be brought from Govardhan Hill to Mathura because Rupa Goswami would never step on Govardhan Hill. Mm-hmm. So he was so old, he could not walk. But Gopal came to Mathura and devotees brought him. I mean, all these wonderful devotees, they brought him. He wanted so much to see the Gopal deity. And when I read this, I said, my God, I have to write a song about Sri Rupa Manjari. And I did. Uh-huh. Then another occasion, I did something else. And another, so I actually picked up 8 songs like that, 8 Vaishnava songs. So, well, I hope you can like it. Yeah, people will like it.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting how you got the inspiration at different times and it just collected over time.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, you've got a job, very important job, and I was thinking, how do you get the time to do these things?
I don't know. I have no idea. Well, to write a song for me takes maybe 10 minutes or something. So I cannot really say it takes a long time. Then of course you have to go to the studio and it costs money. And well, I had a great. I went to a great guy who is a really good musician, a pianist. And he's classically educated pianist, and I like this kind of styles. He made very easily, very simple arrangements, just conveying the mood so nicely. I really like it. And then just me and him, he's a Danish guy, we made this song. And I asked my wife, because she sings so beautifully, to sing a backing vocal for me. And she did a couple of songs, I think. I want to release this album as it is now, make it perfect all the time. I could have made another type of arrangement of music, but I said, well, let's do it as it is now, and let's get it out. So maybe devotees will like it. So let's see.
Yeah, great. That's looking forward to hearing about how that goes. So what's your plan for promoting it? You said it will be on iTunes, and otherwise you just be sharing it with your friends and things?
Yes, I have. We made a website, Zaza Music, one word, .dk, and then there is a Facebook website, Facebook site as well. And well, I don't know. I want to try like that. Start with that. And I hope devotees will like it. It will be on iTunes, and let's see. Maybe I could visit some. What shall I say? Some kind of different retreats and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not dependent on income from the music so much, I should say. It's just a hobby alone. It's much more than that. It's my heart, but I'm not economically dependent on income. And if people appreciate, one thing I can tell you, so many people whom I asked opinion from, listen to, and they tell me often, oh, I really like this music, Sri Rupa. Oh, I like Nitai Padakamala better. What about this Nityananda Ram? This is so good. I mean, they just listen. And I think, I don't know. I hope it will be appreciated by just so-called ordinary people too.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my idea. I mean, devotees. I cannot purify devotees. They're, I'm nothing. But well, maybe some people can, learn about Krishna, learn about Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so on and so forth, about Vrindavan. Yeah, that's my plan. Let's see what happens. Actually, as I told you, there is one great jazz musician in Denmark. He even wanted me to go to studio with him and make some recordings.
Wow.
But he's very busy. But now I can send it to him, my album, and maybe he can come up with an idea. I would love to go. Actually, I you know what I dream about? I dream about sitting somewhere with my piano in the middle of this walking street, somewhere in the European city somewhere, and just singing my songs. Well, not my songs, but I mean those beautiful bhajans in my way. People stopping by and asking, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm telling them, and then I can tell them about Krishna. And I think one has to find ways to do the preaching well, we have to adjust to times. We have to,
innovate.
Yes, innovate, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see. Maybe that's a way.
That sounds cool.
My way, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe this is my way. Besides making books.
Yeah.
Because I can only make books for Georgian people. Non-Georgians cannot get any benefit out of it. What about the others? So I want to make music for the others.
Yeah, well, what I really love about that is, you've been given some inspiration from Krishna, and you've used that creativity, and now you're thinking, how can I use that to spread Krishna consciousness? It's a wonderful combination.
Thank you. It sounds good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Now, I've just started this podcast up again after about 4 years, and I just had the idea now that because the project is called Successful Vaishnavas, I thought of asking from now on each person I interview, what's your definition of success in Krishna consciousness?
Yes. Well, I think that for me still is this beautiful verse from Shikshashtaka by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't want wealth, I don't want followers, I don't want all these things. I just want your causeless love or devotion to you. I think that's somehow or other I shall say I feel like that too. I'm not definitely on that level, of course, but still, I think. Well, what shall I say? I think success is just being happy every day, feeling like fulfilled and full in yourself. Somehow or other, I mean, every day you do something nice for yourself, for your spiritual development. Of course, you always will get from Krishna. You'll always feel if you are doing the right thing, that that's the right thing to do. Somehow or other, I think I don't have a goal to achieve. I have some small goals, like in life, like buying this and buying that and paying this and whatever, going there and there, here and there. But I think otherwise, I just actually enjoy the process of life. In Krishna consciousness, in getting more and more in touch with Krishna, and I think it's sweet at every moment. It can become sweet. It will, and hopefully will become sweeter and sweeter every time. So I'm just grateful every day to whatever I get from Krishna. And well, somehow or other, I think I take it easy and see what Krishna has prepared for me. And I have goals, for example, to make books and to make this and to make that, to help other people as well to become Krishna conscious. And I just hope that it will be appreciated by Krishna and see what he will, which future he has for me, has prepared for me. So I think Krishna consciousness is a continuous process. It never stops. When you start it never stops. I mean, you have to continue all the time. And that's why I think it's like lifelong and eternal process. There is no end to it. And in that journey, you have small goals or bigger goals. And I like to achieve those. But, just go on all the time. Never stop. Some days are good, some days are bad. Sometimes you get it together, sometimes you don't get it together. Well, whatever, just go on. Don't make huge plans. Don't become a hero or whatever. Just be a normal person. And I think, well, that's how I see it.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think I was going to ask you. You seem to have answered the question in some ways. Like, what advice do you have for someone who's practicing Krishna consciousness? But maybe I can ask if you have anything to add in that sense. What advice would you give someone who's perhaps taking up Krishna consciousness now, or even they've been a devotee for a while, and you want to give them some inspiration? What would you say?
Yeah, I would like to say one thing. I think Krishna consciousness, for those who are just starting or getting interest now, I think it's important to add Krishna, and don't hurry to change your life very drastically. I mean, stay wherever you are, go on with your life, but add Krishna to your life. And you know what I mean? Sometimes some devotees give up everything just like that because they're tired and just want to get released from all things. I think we have to give up our responsibilities. It can be family, it can be job, it can be whatever. I think it's important to do it gradually and very consciously. Just add Krishna to your life. What I was very much interested in yoga. Yoga would always tell me, you have to go to the mountains, you have to leave the society. And I said, oh, am I ready for that? Am I ready for that? And I read Prabhupada. He said, you can be Krishna conscious anywhere. You don't have to change anything in your life. That I loved so much. And I think it's true. It's true. Sometimes we forget this. Sometimes we ask the new people to stop whatever, give up things. No, I think they have to add. And then whatever is not important for them, they will give it up automatically at one point. And there will be less conflict in their lives. I think devotees should also think about, it's one thing is you have to become Krishna conscious, but so many of us have duties and responsibilities, and we have to also think, how am I going to maintain myself, job? Of course, Krishna maintains us, but doesn't mean that we do not have to think about our future, our profession, our whatever. These things can be at one point so important that it can destroy us if we don't have any foundation. Only very few people can be totally renounced and dedicated. Only very few. Most of us are just ordinary people. We have to also have families, not all of us, but most of us, and we have to have something to, something to do in life, to have some income, whatever. So add Krishna to whatever you do and use your intelligence. That's the point.
Yeah, I think you're a great example, Prabhupada. You've maintained your position as a doctor, and that's really benefited you because you've been able to support printing of the books and so many other things, whereas if you would have given that up, it would have been much more difficult.
Exactly. I could not have paid for those books. I mean, for the editors and for all these great professionals who helped me, but they did it for free. I had to pay them.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, Prabhu. I think we might wrap up the conversation. I really appreciate hearing from you. It's so inspiring to hear about those times. Oh, there was actually just one question I did have in my mind that I'd just like to ask now. Can you just tell us what was it actually like in those early Soviet days? Because you mentioned that you're a little bit interested in yoga, so somehow or other you were able to find out some information about that. But at the same time, you've both got the the Soviet, sort of atheistic pressure as well as the Orthodox Church. It must have been an interesting time. What was it like?
It was very, very special time. It was a very special time. I would say hard time. I'm sure there are lots of devotees who have lots of stories about it. I can do a podcast about that alone.
Okay, yeah, let's do that on another episode because it's
I would love
be a change of topic.
I would love to. I mean, because it's a huge thing. But one thing I can tell you, when I became a devotee, when I was talking about God, I was crying. How people were atheists, and I said, well, why don't people understand? Why don't they, accept God and something like that? So many friends, so many people would just laugh at me, even be aggressive. Later, in the 90s, when I came back from, for example, Koshnas from BBT, when I came back to Georgia, when religion, became a free thing, those people were wearing crosses, and everybody was baptized and things like that. Everybody. I mean, then religion was like a must almost.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
So when I was, a believer, or I understood God, that God exists at least. So everybody was an atheist, total atheist. So it's a huge topic. I can talk about it for hours if you want.
Well, yeah, that'd be great.
So we can always find. We can always schedule that. No problem. I can tell you the stories which I experienced personally.
Yeah, no, it sounds really interesting because you've got the atheistic, communist side, and then you've also got this Orthodox Church, which has still got an influence at the same time. It's kind of a funny combination.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, atheism was like a main thing before, and from the 90s after the Soviet, Orthodox Church took over everything. Everything.
Right.
So in a sense, it's good, but I think, but it's just different.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's definitely going to be a great topic for another day. But
anytime, Prabhu.
Thanks a lot, Prabhu, to hear your story. It's a great example, as I was mentioning earlier, about someone that's taken what Krishna's given and not artificially given it up, but seeing how to use whatever you've got, in Krishna's service. Whether it's your medical career or whether it's your ability to know English and do the translation, or if it's your musical talents. You've used all of those things in a way that's been of great service to devotees and the movement. And I'd just like to thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing more about those adventures in those Soviet times. That'd be really interesting.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank all the listeners, all the devotees, all these people who have time to listen to me. I'm useless, but thank you very, very much. I hope you can, you would like. You like what I told.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Prabhu. And I'll just remind everyone that if they wanted to find, have a listen to your music, it's at zazamusic.dk. And it's a place that they can also get in touch with you, I guess, if anyone wanted to speak with you or contact you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Have a good day.
Hare Krishna.
Nice speaking with you. Hare Krishna.
Same. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very well.
Was sitting in the bus, I was looking through the window. Everything was white carpeted.
So there you have it, the interview with Nanda-Priya Prabhu, otherwise known as Zaza. Just a reminder, if you want to check out his music and his new album, The Red Dust of Ekachakra, you can go to zazamusic.dk. That's zazamusic.dk.
DK is for Denmark. Also, if you want to find out more about the Successful Vaishnavas project, and in particular the Empower and Preach membership, go to successfulvaishnavas.com. And all other show notes and information discussed on this episode can be found at successfulvaishnavas.com/20. Thanks for listening. To find out more, go to successfulvaishnavas.com.
Whatever little service that anyone can do for Krishna is to be appreciated and celebrated.
Just give this life to Krishna.
We know that they have much more potential than they're presently using.
I went to a place of relishing the activity and letting go of the result completely.
You just associate with pure devotees. Then you shall be able to cross over the ocean of nescience.